So I would like to welcome all of you to the creative writing session of the Central Region TAFCE
Shelly,
retreat. Yes.
I don't believe it started recording because we didn't get the little message.
Oh, it is recording on my end.
Is
I
it?
don't.
It is. Yes, we didn't get the little message. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's because we've already hit it during the session earlier.
Okay.
So I don't know. But anyway, my name is Shelly Barnes, and I'm the Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent in Wilson County. Wanda and Penny are in my county, so I just wanted to say hello to them. I've been an extension agent for 15 years, and I would like to say, much like what Carla says, FC members have raised me in extension. So I have learned the most from FCE members and in my line of work. So I'm always excited to be part of FC. I'm also a regional advisor right now. I'm sure that'll change at some point, but I think this is my third stint in 15 years of being the regional advisor. So I think you'll like me, or you wouldn't have me do that. But anyway, so today we're going to talk about creative writing. I'm going to share my screen. I have lots of different things pulled up that I want to share. And so the first thing that I want to share, and of course, you know, all this. Okay. So the first thing that I want to share is going to be the rules for our creative writing program. I pulled this from our Central Region website that I'm super excited, Mary, and I can't see y'all now, so y'all just let me know. This is very informal, so if y'all want to start talking or if you have a question, just do it. You can put it in the chat or you can just unmute yourself. But I'm very excited that Mary Alice has worked so hard in putting all of this information on our website for the Central Region FCE group. And so these are our rules for the Tennessee Creative Writing Program. So do all y'all have access to these rules? Have you seen these before? Are they shaking their heads,
Yes,
Kim?
I am trying to see. I see heads that are shaking. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Good job. So we're going to focus kind of on these categories. We want to look at these categories that we have here that are highlighted. We have 6 different options where you can enter in the creative writing program. Poetry, essays, short stories, children's stories, feature article or news article, and miscellaneous. I know that we just had our creative writing deadline here a while back, and Penny, she entered, I know, in this feature article, news article section, and we had several other people enter as well. So when we look at these rules, we can see these scoring criteria. Y'all have seen these before, so you know what to do. So what I would like, I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick because I want to be able to see y'all. Let me stop. Share. I want first, can we talk about how do y'all market this program within your counties? What do we do in Wilson County? Let's start here. Penny and Wanda, do y'all want to talk about what we do in Wilson County to market the creative writing program?
Well, we bring it up and discuss it at all the meetings and stuff, but we don't have a whole lot of participation.
Okay. So we talk about it at our county council meeting. We encourage our county, our club presidents to talk about it at their club meetings, right?
And we do talk about it in our club a lot.
What about you, Wanda? Do y'all talk about it in your club?
We do.
Okay. But what go ahead.
And I said we've had some people to enter for our club, but we're all not as talented as Miss Evelyn. We'll give her that.
So what I'm hearing from Wilson County is that we talk about it a lot. We try to share information at our county level and our local level, but we still don't get a lot of participation. So, and I will get to that. Yes, Mary Alice. So can anybody from any other counties share what do y'all do to market this program in your county?
I'm from Bedford County, and it's pretty much the same thing. It is talked about in the clubs and at general meetings, but not a lot of participation. We have several really talented people that submit each year, but I would say percentage-wise, it's less than 10%.
Okay.
Shelly,
Peggy.
this year, it's Grundy County. This year, I got a copy of the book of poetry and creative writing that they did last year. I got a copy of that. In fact, got 2 copies. And I made a copy of the instructions about creative writing. And I sent it to all our presidents, and I talked about it in the council meeting and showed them that book. And I got some interest. We got 1 entry. We've had no entries for 10 years, I guess. And I think that helped a little bit. They could see what other people had written, and they realized it didn't have to be a famous poet's type of writing, or they could do a children's story. In fact, that's what we got. And I think maybe showing them what's been done and been sent in helped a little bit. And just every time I had an opportunity at a meeting and the council meeting and the local meetings, I was sending something out about creative writing.
I think that's a
Newsletter.
great idea. I think it's a great idea to get a copy of those winners and let people see, you know, what entries look like. One of the things in researching for this program or session today, for the agents in our professional association, we can submit awards, and they do give us options of what past award winners look like. So we can look at those and know how to write things. And that was something that I didn't find like online or anything. So our option for FCE in the creative writing program would be the book that they print. And so that we would have to purchase that. How much was that, Peggy? It probably wasn't much, like $10.
$15.
$15. So,
Yeah,
you know,
15.
one person from the county or maybe your county organization could purchase one of those at some point so that you could see what, you know, the quality writing style looks like. It might encourage more people to write, because it's not hard, and there are the 6 categories. So that should speak to a lot of people. Probably, I'm not going to say everyone, but it should speak to a lot of people.
Miss Shelly,
Yes.
when you're, maybe that this might be a little bit of an incentive, but the winners at the state level get their book. First and second place winners get the book, and they don't have to buy it. So that's one of the perks of winning, is that you get a copy of the book. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
That's a great insight too. Thank you, Wanda. Now, Mary Alice, I'm going to get to your first question in just a little bit, but her second contribution says maybe offering a workshop in our counties might help. Now, I did this several years ago when I first started. We were experimenting how leader training needed to be. And so one of my sessions was on creative writing. And I will say we did see an increase in our creative writing entries that next year after we did a workshop. We did several different activities. We went around and we did a story, and we're going to work on that today. We took time to try to come up with a poem. We hooked in with different people, so there might be 2 in a group, and we did different things that we could work on, and there were several entries that next year. But probably having a workshop every couple of years is a really good idea to kind of keep people interested. Another thing that we've done in Wilson County before is at our luncheon, we've had a storyteller be our presenter. And I think that is a great segue, into reminding people, hey, if you liked listening to this storyteller, this is something that you can do. You probably tell stories to your family members. I know when I was growing up, my favorite thing to do with my granny was to listen to stories from her childhood. And they weren't anything special to anybody but us. But if she had written those down, I think she could have gotten a lot of awards because they were entertaining and exciting, and in some cases scary. You know, one time she almost drowned in a creek, and that was the scariest point of that story, but it was engaging and it was fun. And that really is nothing special. It was just something that happened to her when she was about 6 years old, and she remembered it. And I do have her on video telling us those stories. So I think that's even something that we can do. We just need to write it down. Now I'm going to give y'all some examples, and I'll go ahead and talk about Mary Alice. She's asking, what is the difference between an essay and a short story? So a short story is exactly what it sounds like. It is just a short story. Okay, you would have the intro, the body, and the conclusion, and you need to have some type of plot. An essay is going to be a little bit more factual. Okay, it's going to be over some topic that you're interested in, maybe recycling or human trafficking, something that you've learned maybe in an FCL class or in another FCE class, and you're going to have factual information, probably some type of statistic in there to back up what information that you're sharing. Short stories don't have that. They are completely fabricated. They can be made up and they can just be fantasy. It doesn't matter. Or it could be real life. It could be that time that my granny almost drowned in a creek. So that would be one difference between essays and short stories. I know that many of you all have lots of examples. And so that's what I said earlier. I'm probably the last person that needs to be teaching a class like this. I need to be learning from you all. But I wanted to give some examples, some real life examples, and I want to be able to see some of y'all's faces. So I'm going to split my screen here. You know, I'm very lucky right now because I have the state FCE president in my county, and I wanted to share, this is one of our newsletters from the state, and this article here is from Wanda. This is an article that she wrote as state president. She always has me proofread them and ask me if there's anything wrong or if they need to be changed grammatically and things of that nature. But this is something that she could submit as an article. A newspaper article, or the category says, it says feature article / news article. Does not have to be in a newspaper. So it could be in a newsletter. As long as the date, specifically the year and the volume is included, it would be eligible. So that is one example. Another example from our county newsletter, and I'm using people from my county as examples. This is one that Penny West created on her own last year. Hot weather means more precautions. I can always count on Penny to come up with little tips and tidbits for our members to share. So this is, I'm pretty sure, Penny, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did enter this news article this year. Is that correct?
I did.
Okay. So if we're also thinking about newsletters, I'm just sharing a bunch of things so y'all can see here. So let me go to the internet, back to the internet, and I want to share, and it gets hard to see because I have a lot of things pulled up. One thing that we just submitted to the newspapers is a newspaper paper article related to our new program, Extension Explorers. So this is one that I wrote, and you can see it's not even in my local newspaper. This is from the Dixon Post, so it went everywhere. But this would be also a news article that you could enter. One thing too, because I had one that I had written, I had emailed to the newspapers. It has to be the newspaper. So I don't know if they would take an online printout. We would have to check on that, but it says that it has to be the original. So that would be something that you all would want to consider, making sure that you're always following all the rules. So can anybody share any other examples that they have submitted in the past? Has anybody submitted any poetries or children's stories?
It looks like some people are maybe trying to find some things on their computers.
Oh, are you? Okay.
It looks that way from expressions.
I did
on
a poetry
faces.
this year.
Do you have access to it, Penny?
Probably.
I thought you might want to share.
No, I don't know if I want to share or not. It's kind of personal.
Okay. So Penny, how did you come up with the poem?
Well, it's kind of it's a life experience thing.
Okay.
Is what it is. Hang on, I know where it is, but it's
You don't have to share. It's okay. Has anybody else submitted any
good
poems?
because I don't know where it is right now.
I've
it's
had
a life
poetry in the past. I
Okay.
haven't done one in the last year, but I have had some in the past.
So Evelyn, how do
Evelyn,
you?
you do a marvelous job.
She does. How do you come up with a poem off the top of your head? Do you have to sit and stew about it a while, or?
Well,
are you
I've had
concerned
about
everything
three. I've done about 3 or 4 where I took a really old jokes that I remember from my childhood, and I turned them into poetry. I mean, I told the story again, but I made the end of the sentences rhyme.
Right.
So I recreated it. I took the punchline and recreated it. But so I've done about 4 or 5 like that, 3, 4 or 5. I don't know, some.
I think that's a great idea. I would have never thought about taking a joke and turning it into a poem. Would y'all have thought about that before?
Well, it's the story's already there. You don't have to recreate the story except just rewrite it in your own language.
That's a great idea.
Shelly, this is Whitney in Bedford County.
Yes.
We have a member in our clubs that she writes the minutes for their club meeting in poetry. She makes them all rhyme, and it's really interesting.
That is so cool. Because have you ever been to one of those club meetings, any meeting, and listening to what you did last month is just really not that interesting, is it? So that's a good way. I'm sure that they never dispense of the reading of those minutes, Whitney.
I don't. It's always really interesting to listen to them.
Has she ever entered those in the creative writing program?
She has entered. I don't know if she's done her minutes or not.
She should, because that was listed on there, that it could be, it said feature article / news article can be club report publication. So that would qualify. And then also it would qualify under miscellaneous if she didn't think it qualified in that category.
Yeah, that would probably be a better fit since it's not published. It's not published anywhere.
So I want to do a game, and Whitney has done this before because we did this in one of our FCS program planning meetings. And I'm going to, I will put the link in the chat when we're done. But basically, have y'all ever heard of story cubes? Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm introducing you all to something new. Well, let me tell you how I came to know story cubes. This is pre-pandemic. We like to go to this little pizza place called Nona Lisa in Watertown, and they have games. They have a whole shelf, like a whole bookcase of games and colors and coloring books and just everything. And my kids really enjoy going there because we have, they make your pizza to order and it takes a little while. So we like to play games as a family while we're waiting on our food. They had this little orange bag and it said story cubes on it. So Ripley picked it up. So this is, mind you, she's 6. So this is a couple years ago. So before she could read and all of that stuff. But we really like telling funny stories to each other. And so it has dice in the bag. And the idea is that you roll the dice and each person comes up with a part of the story. So it's a really good way to come up with a fun story. It can be a short story. And I think that this is a good way to kind of exercise your brain and come up with a story. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm sharing the internet again. So I have to say that out loud so it reminds me where I'm going. And there's all kinds of teacher resources online. I want to see if I can make this bigger because I want to see more of your faces. Can y'all see that? It should be a blue background. Okay, great. And it says Story Dice.
Yes.
This is an ESL website. So English as a second language. So teachers use this with students that are learning English, but it can be used with anybody. So the way it works is you roll and you get different options. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to start the story off and I'm going to roll the dice and that's going to continue the story. And then I'll roll the dice again and someone in the room will pick up. So maybe Kim and Whitney, we can kind of go first and y'all can kind of see how it goes. And some of the story is going to go together and some of it's not. And that's what makes it funny. So if you're experiencing writer's block, this might be a good way for you to come up with a story you would have never thought of, but could be really fun. I know that this would be a good way to do a short story or a children's story. And this is a true test. My kids always love the silly stories we come up with when we use our story cubes. So I'm going to roll and I'm going to start us off. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a grumbly monster. Now, Kim, you'll go.
All right. Well, I was really asleep and I was in a deep sleep. But I woke up all of a sudden when I felt the scary monster breathing on my face.
Okay, Whitney, he's breathing on your face.
So it was so scary that I grabbed my phone and I dialed 911 because I needed help.
Okay, who's going to go next?
When 911 answered and sent someone to the house, I couldn't tell what they were doing. They had 2 faces. They would take one face off and put the other one on, and they were as scary as the original monster.
Oh no, that was good, Evelyn. Okay, who's next?
And I thought monsters everywhere. Maybe I should find a new place to live. Take to the air.
Oh, getting on the airplane. Hey, who's next?
While on the airplane, I saw stars everywhere. And suddenly, out of the blue, there was a
Oh, there was a, sorry, I was waiting. I was just waiting on the story.
Oh,
What was there?
suspense.
A hippopotamus appeared from nowhere and scared me even more.
Okay.
and he was right. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay. He was riding in a hot air balloon.
And then I woke up because all of this was just a nightmare that I was dreaming about.
So we're going to end there because that was a good ending, Evelyn. But we could continue to go on. So do y'all see how helpful this was in creating a silly, fun story?
That's cute.
Was it helpful?
It is, that's different.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to put this link in into the chat. So how could we use an activity like this in our club meetings or in our leader trainings or in a county workshop? What could we do?
Shelly, you could play that game instead of bingo.
We could play that game instead of bingo. We've really gotten into the bingo craze in Wilson County. We do love the bingo, don't we, Wanda? But this would be a fun thing that we could play in our game, in our clubs instead of bingo. And then at the end, encourage people to use this or even use items around their home that they're thinking, you know, that they see to create a story and encourage them to enter into this program. You could also have a county contest at your county level if you wanted to try to get more interest. And you could have like a read night where people gathered together and they read their entries or they shared information. What are some other things that we could do to spark creativity and to get us writing in these categories?
One of the things that helps me, I do genealogy, and I have some characters in my background, in my family. And sometimes I tell the true story, and sometimes I give some endings that I wish would happen.
I think that's a great idea too. That kind of, you know, you're doing your genealogy, but then you kind of fabricate these stories about people. I love that idea. What else can we do?
We might have our club start a story, each member take a part, and then the next month someone else continues. Next month someone else continues, and by the end of the year, end the story.
I love that idea. I know I'm in the season of my life where I talk about my kids a lot, and that at some point will change, but for now y'all are just stuck with it. I'm sure those of you that have kids remember when that's all you ever talked about, because that's all you ever do. But you know, one thing that my kids really like to do, we do read a lot of books and everything, but at bedtime we have this ongoing story that I have made up, and it's about things that they like, unicorns and dinosaurs and mermaids and all kinds of things. And this story has been going on for the past 6 months. Sometimes we'll tell it at night. Sometimes I'll read a book. It just depends on what kind of mood they're in. And so I actually have had to text myself once they go to sleep of what's happened, because I won't remember what to add on, but they will remember. And I think that's kind of what Sally is getting at. You know, each month you add on a part to the story. I think that's a really fun idea. And what's that going to do? It might make people interested in creative writing. It's also going to make them want to come to club meetings because they want to know what happens next to the story. You know, so I love that idea.
Shelly,
Yes.
if each club does a story, then the next year you could take those stories and use them as your openings in your yearbook. We always have like a little poem or something that we read, and so you could put it in there.
I love that idea. I think that is a really cool idea. What else can we do?
Well, I think people could use maybe some pictures from their family photo albums and just bring a picture, you know, like an artist paints a picture from a still life, and that could start the story, or that could be a story that they work on that night. So, and it'll be a way of them, you know, personalizing it.
I think that's a good idea too. You know, something else that's really fun to get your brain flowing if you're not able to just think of something. Have any of y'all ever used Mad Libs? Some of you are shaking yes, and some of you are shaking no. And I'll do a search in just a second to see if I can find an example online. But basically, it's a story, and you have to come up with nouns and adjectives and other words, and then it's a fill in the blank, and it just comes up with a really funny, wonky story. So that would be an idea too, to kind of get your juices flowing in order to make up something on your own.
When my kids were young, they had tablets that they could buy. I mean, you could buy, and the kids could do that. I don't know if they're still out there now or not, but that was something that was written before computers were available.
Yeah, that's how I know about them. It looks like they have a collection of Mad Libs on their website that you can print. So I'm putting that link in there. So that would be another activity that you could do in your club. So we know that this creative writing contest is an individual contest, but just because it is individual doesn't mean that we have to limit ourselves, that the only time we write is by ourselves. I really like the idea of engaging our club members. I love, love, love Sally's idea, and then the idea that Whitney added on of engaging our clubs every month and coming up with an annual top project that you want to share. I think that would be a really fun way to promote our creative writing program to others. And I think sometimes the best way is just to talk with other counties and see what they do. I know Wilson County is not the end all be all, is it, Wanda? There are other counties outside of our county. I know Whitney is one of my mentor agents, and I call her and ask her ideas, and I'm always impressed with the things. Oh, I don't know why I did that alarm, but I'm always impressed with the things that she has done in Bedford County. So does anybody else? Go ahead.
I was going to say she's good at thinking outside the box.
Yes, she is.
Sometimes just ask my members. One thing we did a program during the pandemic on journaling, and there are lots of things online that give prompts for journaling. So we threw out, and when I did that program, we threw out a topic like, what do you wish more people knew about you and why? And then they would write about that. So there are prompts for journaling out there that you can use as well.
I think that's a good idea too. Another thing to think about would be maybe interviewing someone. Come up with a list of questions of things you might want to know. Kind of goes into Evelyn's genealogy, but with people that are around you now, and then create a story based on the answers that they shared with you. I did that with an essay, Mary Alice, when I was in high school. I think this is pretty common. I had to interview a veteran, and they gave me a list of questions to ask. I interviewed my daddy because he is a Vietnam veteran. And then I had to turn that into an essay talking about his experience and relating a lot of that to facts about the Vietnam War. And it turned into a really interesting piece. My mom kept it, and it's in a file drawer somewhere, but she thought it was good enough to keep. It asked a lot of personal time questions that he did not want to answer. But I think that would be a good idea, to interview people. Of course, I know that we work with families, Whitney and I do. So the stories that I'm interested in the most are about people. Even fabricated stories. I like things about people and their families. But not everybody's going to be like me. So just find what inspires you and what interests you and write about that and make yourself happy.
Shelly,
yes.
I was going to say our time clock countdown says we have about 10 minutes, but Patsy give us we're at a 3-minute time limit now.
Yes, I was about to wrap up. Thank you so much, Kim. Right on time as usual. So show of hands, was this somewhat helpful for you? Okay. Is this something that you might implement in your county? Great. All of you probably know how to contact me. I'm the agent in Wilson County. If you ever need any help on this topic, or if you need me to send you these links, let me know. And I'd be happy to help. And you can also contact your own county agent. They are going to have other ideas than me. So just have fun and write it down. Okay. I hope y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think I'm going to stop recording, but all we have to do